4th Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 6 through chapter 4, verse 26. Now, this can be explained more clearly by the story of King David's thirst. David had been attacking the Philistines all day long, and together with the soldiers of his nation had killed many of them. Then, when evening fell, he came, sweating and quite exhausted, to the royal tent, around which the whole army of our ancestors had encamped. Now, all the rest were at dinner, but the king was extremely thirsty, and though springs were plentiful there, he could not satisfy his thirst from them. But a certain irrational desire for the water in the enemy's territory tormented him, and inflamed him, undid and consumed him. When his guards complained bitterly because of the king's craving, 2 staunch young soldiers, respecting the king's desire, armed themselves fully and, taking a pitcher, climbed over the enemy's ramparts. Eluding the sentinels at the gates, they went searching throughout the enemy camp and found the spring, and from it boldly brought the king a drink. But David, though he was burning with thirst, considered it an altogether fearful danger to his soul to drink what was regarded as equivalent to blood. Therefore, opposing reason to desire, he poured out the drink as an offering to God. For the temperate mind can conquer the drives of the passions and quench the flames of frenzied desires. It can overthrow bodily agonies even when they are extreme, and by nobility of reason spurn all domination by the passions. The present occasion now invites us to a narrative demonstration of temperate reason. At a time when our ancestors were enjoying profound peace because of their observance of the law, and were prospering, so that even Seleucus Nicanor, king of Asia, had both appropriated money to them for the temple service and recognized their way of life, just at that time, certain persons attempted a revolution against the public harmony and caused many and various disasters. Now, there was a certain Simon, a political opponent of the noble and good man Onias, who then held the high priesthood for life. When, despite bringing charges against him on behalf of the nation, he was unable to injure Onias, he fled the country with the purpose of betraying it. So he came to Apollonius, governor of Syria, Phoenicia, and Cilicia, and said, "I have come here because I am loyal to the king's government, to report that in the Jerusalem treasuries there are deposited tens of thousands in private funds that are not the property of the temple, but belong to King Seleucus." When Apollonius learned the details of these things, he praised Simon for his service to the king, and went up to Seleucus to inform him of the rich treasure. On receiving authority to deal with this matter, he proceeded quickly to our country, accompanied by the accursed Simon and a very strong military force. He said that he had come with the king's authority to seize the private funds in the treasury. The people indignantly protested his words, considering it outrageous that those who had committed deposits to the sacred treasury should be deprived of them, and did all that they could to prevent it. But, uttering threats, Apollonius went on to the temple. While the priests, together with women and children, were imploring God in the temple to shield the holy place that was being treated so contemptuously, and while Apollonius was going up with his armed forces to seize the money, angels on horseback with lightning flashing from their weapons appeared from heaven, instilling in them great fear and trembling. Then Apollonius fell down half dead in the temple area that was open to all, stretched out his hands toward heaven, and with tears begged the Hebrews to pray for him and propitiate the wrath of the heavenly army. For he said that he had committed a sin deserving of death, and that if he were spared, he would praise the blessedness of the holy place before all people. Moved by these words, although otherwise cautious lest King Seleucus suppose that Apollonius had been overcome by human treachery and not by divine justice, the high priest Onias prayed for him. So, Apollonius, having been saved beyond all expectations, went away to report to the king what had happened to him. When King Seleucus died, his son Antiochus Epiphanes succeeded to the throne, an arrogant and terrible man, who removed Onias from the priesthood and appointed Onias's brother Jason as high priest. Jason agreed that if the office were conferred on him, he would pay the king 3,660 talents annually. So the king appointed him high priest and ruler of the nation. Jason changed the nation's customs and altered its form of government in complete violation of the law, so that he not only constructed a gymnasium at the very citadel of our native land, but also abolished the temple service. The divine justice was angered by these acts and caused Antiochus himself to make war on them. For when he was warring against Ptolemy of Egypt, he heard that a rumor of his death had spread, and that the people of Jerusalem had rejoiced greatly. He speedily marched against them, and after he had ravaged them, he issued a decree that if any of them were found observing the ancestral law, they should die. When by means of his decrees he had not been able in any way to put an end to the people's observance of the law, but saw that all his threats and punishments were being disregarded, even to the extent that women, because they had circumcised their sons, were thrown headlong from heights along with their infants, though they had known beforehand that they would suffer this. When I say his decrees were despised by the people, he himself tried through torture to compel everyone in the nation to renounce Judaism by eating defiling foods.